I used to think that getting a degree is a huge achievement in life, but it turns out that this is just a path to employment. Now, I was emotionally invested in this, and I guess maybe this comes from our background as well, because getting a degree was something that was very celebrated. And for you to be in a discussion or amongst people, if you're pointed out as he has a degree in something, it meant that you're a somebody. But in the real world, yes, although that has significance, it's not really the case at all times, because really at the end of it, if it's about getting money, then it may not be a very good idea to go and get a degree. So in most cases, cultures, it's all about bragging, right? So you need to really make a decision. In fact, I'm going to discuss this throughout this video. So you need really to weigh out the pros and cons and see what is better. Is it worth really going into debt to get a degree? Because as it stands right now, a lot of people cannot afford to pay for their own degrees. So they're left now with taking a loan, a student loan. And this loan can go up to upwards of 45,000 throughout your whole program. So 45,000 is a lot of money if you're going to be borrowing that kind of money. So you'll find that the tuition fee is around, say, 9,000 per year. And on top of that, you also get a maintenance loan, which will then cover, pretty much your day-to-day living. But at the end of all of this, you are now required to pay 9% if you earn above 25,000 per year. So 9% will be taken automatically the same way your NI is taken from your salary. This is the same thing with this. And also there's an interest aspect to this, because you don't just get a loan and then it just ends like that. No, there's interest which is based on inflation. So if the inflation is bad, you know what? Your loan repayments or your loan is going to be higher. So you just have to consider that. Now, in my case, it was a very messed up situation. I didn't do it for the family or for bragging rights, but I really thought when I did my studies in visual communication, I was really going to get an edge in graphic design, branding, and that kind of stuff. But when I started my degree program, it turned out that I knew more than the lecturer. I mean, it's funny I'm saying this, but I knew way more than the lecturer in terms of photography, typography, things like, web. They were still talking about Dreamweaver. For those of you who have designed who designed websites, I'm sure you know Dreamweaver. Can you imagine that we were being taught Dreamweaver in a world where there are programs like WordPress, Joomla, and also even hand coding, PHP, and even CSS and HTML. So that's when the alarm bell started ringing. And I was like, oh my goodness, how is it possible? I started getting frustrated. I started missing classes. And I found that I was learning more on YouTube than I was learning in class. And to be honest, it wasn't very exciting. But when I was promised this degree, or not promised, but when I was going through the application process, it was advertised to me that at the end of this program, I'll be getting as much as 35K per year. That to me was a driver as well, because I was like, 35K per year. I mean, it's good. And then, work out my experience. This will be really, really nice. But the more I was involved in the program, I realized that this is not going to really work out. So me being crazy, what did I do? I dropped out. So I didn't eventually graduate in visual communication, or I didn't get the degree in visual communication. I just dropped out because I was already making money while I was on the program. And you know what made it even worse? You see, if you don't really do your research, you'll find that the degree that you're going to may not necessarily be a top quality university, because, for example, the University of Birmingham and Birmingham City University, these are totally two different universities, and they rank way different on the league tables. And when it comes to salaries, for top jobs, you'll find that someone who went to the University of Birmingham will be getting 42K per year, and the one who went to Birmingham City University will be getting as low as 28 for the same thing. So I didn't know this, because I was like, whatever name is there at the end which says university, I'm cool with that. And it's really good. So when you graduate now and people back home see you graduating, throwing your cap and all of that and celebrating, sometimes they don't know what university it is. They are just celebrating a degree. So if you're just bragging, then of course you can use that for bragging. But I also understand that sometimes it may feel like you've really achieved something because you've gone for 3 years reading, sending assignments, and then in the end, you won. But this may not really work out for you because at the end of the day, what you find is 52% of graduates do not actually work in the job that they studied for. And this is crazy. And these stats are from the Office of National Statistics. These are not my stats. 52%. This is a very high number. But anyway, the median salary after graduation is 30K. To me, that's not a lot of money, After going through a loan of 45,000 and then you're getting 30K per year, nah, that doesn't really work for me. But that said, let's talk about the positive side of getting a degree. Now, you have to be very strategic when you choose a degree to do, because you can't just take any degree and just rank it as equally important in today's job market. For example, in this country, United Kingdom, you find that there's a lot of job opportunities around the medical side of things or around hospitals. So if you were someone who was going to take a degree to become a dentist, or a degree to become a surgeon or doctor, any of those medical type of things, you are in the right place because you're guaranteed a job. Even things as lower as nursing is fantastic. I've seen and I've known a few people, some of them are my friends. They started off as a nurse. I mean, this is something that some people may look down upon and say, nurse, I'm not going to be a nurse, no chance. Right? Because the association of nurses is done by women only. And if you look at how things are when you're in Zimbabwe, nursing is not really one of those things that you want to aspire to be. But in countries like in the West, it's different because this is where you get a job which is secure. And if you do well, you can actually start adding on top of that nursing degree and go into other branches. And eventually you're going to reach a top ranking within the medical field where you'll be getting paid a lot of money. I mean, it does pay off. But of course, this has to be a long-term path. And those that really made it in this field are those that really started when they came to the UK. So obviously they were working on their career and building it up. So now at 40 something years, you'll find that they're in the top bands in the nursing industry, which is really, really amazing. I mean, these guys are earning quite a lot of money. But if you are new, you are coming to the UK and you want to start nursing and maybe you're 30 years old, 40 years old, I don't know about that. I mean, that's something that you have to decide yourself. But anyway, in my case, my goal was to become a graphic designer, UX designer, art director, motion graphics, creative director and that kind of stuff. It did help a little bit, but for the most part, it was a useless degree for me. So that is why I'm saying what I'm saying. But I also did mention that there are areas which, if you've got a passion about law, there's no way around that. You can't Google your way around getting into law, or even chartered accountancy, or things like medicine, science, architecture, those kind of things. You do definitely need to have a degree. But all these other little things, nah. It's not worth it. Some of these things, especially the creative side of things, you can get all this online. In fact, even business. I mean, you can do a business degree or master's in business and won't have a clue about how to run a business. I mean, these are just theories. And you know what made it even worse for me was the fact that I sat down with one of the lecturers and he said to me, look, you're complaining that you're doing all these topics. They're very dated. Yes, we agree. But at the end of the day, universities are businesses. And for them to change the curriculum based on the tech that is going on the ground, it's almost impossible. It's very costly and it's almost impossible because you have to teach the lecturers to, the new stuff and all of that. So it's not easy. So that's when I realized that these degrees, they're just money-making schemes, money-making schemes. And not only that, the unis are also not equal. In fact, let me show you something here. There is a league table, right? So this is where universities are ranked, kind of like, how it is private schools, like in Zimbabwe. Of course, you cannot compare a school like Kwazana Primary and Hartman House, So these are the sort of rankings that are also similar or are found in the UK. So here is university rankings, and these are league tables. So obviously, if you're number one here, this is the top ranking. And these are the type of universities you want to go to if you're going to really pursue a career. So here you can see London School of Economics and Political Science. Okay, this is the number one, University of St. Andrews, University of Oxford, Cambridge, Durham. So do you see now how if you do a degree in, say, University of Wolverhampton, you can't really compare it to Cambridge. And if you're looking for jobs, I mean, chances are, or in fact, I wouldn't say chances are, companies are going to look for someone who went to a top university. They're not going to look at the top ranking universities like University of Bedfordshire, University of kind of stuff, They're going to look at the top universities. So these degrees don't carry the same weight. That's the problem. They don't carry the same weight. So you have to consider all these things before you go and get a loan to do a degree. And also bear in mind, like I said, because you might seem like I am really against degrees. Yes, if you are going into the specific fields that I mentioned, law, medicine, sciences, then, it's okay. But the art stuff, business, that's a waste of time, to be honest. You can just go and do apprenticeships, start a business. You can do online certificates. You can even do coding boot camps. In fact, if you want to go to university to do computer science, it's a waste of time, because even Google themselves, if you can show that you can do coding, you don't even need to show a degree in computer science for you to go into to get a job at Google or even any of these top tech companies. You don't need to do that. So anyway, let's take a look at these league tables. So you can see here the top universities here. In fact, there's quite a few. University of Sheffield, this is actually quite good. University of Glasgow, University of Edinburgh. So these are quite good. Now let's go to the bottom ones, okay? Let's see what's on the lowest ranking. So there you go, University of Bedfordshire. In fact, this was the first time I tried to do my program. It was at the University of Bedfordshire. So you can see where it is here. University of Northampton. Wow. Okay. University of Wolverhampton. Do you see that? So this is one of the lowest ranked universities. So I'm sure if you do a program for nursing at University of Wolverhampton, it's okay, because anyway, nurses are on demand. So that's not a degree that will be looked down upon. But if you're going to be doing anything that's competitive and you're trying to get a job in the job market, universities do matter. So you need to really take a look at these league tables to see what university you're going to and how it ranks. And also keep an eye on the names. Nottingham University and University of Nottingham or Nottingham Trent University, totally different thing. Okay, so you really have to look into these things, because the name, just because it has a university at the end of it, doesn't necessarily mean that this is a top university and it's amazing and all of that. No, they're different, and the rankings are different as well. And these rankings do play a role when it comes to applying for jobs. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. What do you think about these universities? These things that I've covered here, are these the things that you already knew? I mean, let me know in the comments box below. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.